Hello and welcome. This is Noah with Nomad Gaming, and thank you for joining us for some deck building and strategy discussion. Before we jump into today's task, please do us a favor and take a moment to press that like button and subscribe to the channel to get updates on when we post our new hero reviews, strategy videos, and gameplay sessions. Today we are going to build with the Miss Marvel hero. If you haven't seen our hero review, click on the on-screen card to jump over there and get caught up. In our hero review, we discussed an overview of each aspect with this hero. My first inclination is to build an aggression deck because I find it both fun and effective, but the folks on Team Covenant have just played such a deck and their deck list is available online. Leadership is out. Well, maybe. There is a card draw engine that we could build around to try to set up, but I think we're going to do protection today. Miss Marvel comes with protection out of the box, but let's take a look and see what we would do to produce a finely tuned racing machine with this pairing. Let's jump over to the cards. You'll see we're going to use the Card Game DB deck building engine today for our deck building exercise. We've preloaded the Miss Marvel signature pool, giving us 15 cards already in our deck. We do want to try to shoot for that minimum threshold of 40 cards. We could go over by a few cards if we need to, but let's see where things shake out. We will go ahead and first off, I like to start every deck by adding a few of the basic staples. Some of them may come out later. We're going to add an Avengers Mansion to our deck. We're going to add our resource cards, Energy, Genius, and Strength. And then we're going to add Nick Fury, Mockingbird, and Helicarrier. That puts us at 22 off the top. We're probably going to drop the Avengers Mansion in a second, I will be honest, but we'll see how that shakes out. The extra card draw is helpful, but the cost is sometimes prohibitive, and it's not an event, and it doesn't really make me excited with Miss Marvel. We do have some other options inside of the basic pool. Let's see what we've got in terms of basic events. Again, emergency. This is a threat. This is a thwart event. We could pop it back into our hand. It doesn't have an ability that can be boosted though by our shrink, which is down here. When we play a thwart event, we can exhaust shrink to increase the amount of threat removed by 2, but emergency doesn't remove threat, it just reduces the amount of threat that gets placed. So it can't be boosted, although we can get it and we could play it twice. First aid doesn't have one of the keywords that we need, although it is an event, it does let us heal. Haymaker is an attack event. This is great. 2 costs for 3 damage is already good. 2 costs for 5 damage with an Embiggen is better. Remember, Embiggen is our exhaust to boost another one. I'm going to go ahead and say we put 3 Haymakers in, see where that tunes out to in just a minute. Invulnerability. This is our superpower, and it gives us a tough status card. Could be helpful, but I don't see a huge reason to have it in the deck. We can't recur it, we can't boost it. We can play it with our polymer suit, but that's about the only benefit that we get from it. Let's swing over to our protection aspect. And let's just run through some of the basic cards real quick, type by type. We're going to start with events because that's going to be our focus for this deck. We've talked in our hero review, we talked a little bit about counterpunch. We have to take a defense from an enemy attack, and then we can deal damage to that enemy equal to our hero's attack. We do know that defending can be an undefended attack, so we can counterpunch and boost if we want to. This is boostable, so our attack is 1, so we could do a 1 attack to boost this, to off of this basically, or we can embiggen this by increasing the amount of damage we deal by 2, so this would be 0 for 3. 0 for 3 is not bad, but not super exciting. Expert defense, when our hero defends against an attack, it gets +3 defense. For this to be beneficial, we actually have to exhaust to defend, so then we're exhausted and we can't use our ability to get this back into our hand. Doesn't excite me too much. Get Behind Me. This is probably one of the best cards that came with the set, but I mean, it comes in the base deck here, but you know, being able to take a defense isn't the best, although we do need to be able to cancel treachery cards, so I'm going to go ahead and put a full play set of this into the deck. We may take some out in just a minute. Preemptive Strike, this is a defense ability, so we could bring this back to our hand. It's got the turn, when a boost card is turned face up, we can cancel all the boost icons and then we deal damage to the villain. This is kind of like a risky proposal to try to do, but it's free damage and we don't have a lot of ways to deal damage. I don't like it a ton. I'm going to leave it out for a minute and see if we have to come back and add it later. Second Wind, I will never like Second Wind, I don't think, but maybe somebody else can convince me otherwise. It does have a resource match that we can take advantage of, but it's not super exciting. 3 cost for 4 heal. Maybe on a character that has much lower healing, we're going to be looking to do that, but with 5 recover here and a huge synergy in our alter ego mode, I'm much more inclined to just heal with my hero than to try to use Second Wind. Tackle, we're going to go with full 3 of with this. This is a great card. We get to put a stun on an enemy. If we use a strength resource, we get to add 3 damage to the enemy. So we're going to do this. It's an attack event. We can get it back into our hand. We're probably going to get it back into our hand, and we can boost it with our Embiggen. So 3 of those in the deck right now. So right now we're at 31 cards. We're looking for 9 more cards to add to the deck. We're going to switch over and take a look. We are going to use our Power of Protection, so let's put 2 of those in. And then we are going to take a quick look at allies. Allies in this pool are an interesting adventure for us. I really like all 3 of these allies for different reasons. Black Widow is an interesting one because she gets to cancel the effects of a card. So this isn't cancel the when revealed effect of a card. It just cancels. It basically blanks the card, and we get another one. So it's a mental resource that we have to use. We don't have a ton of mental resources in our deck. Right now, I think we've got Nick Fury, and we've got, I think, Shrink and Sneak By are all that we've got. Shrink is a, and Sneak By is one. Looks like Get Behind Me as well, if that stays with us, and of course we have Genius. So we do have a handful of these. She could be useful. We do need the thwart. She's 3 cost. I'm going to put her in, and I kind of like her. Luke Cage, toughness card's going to be to our advantage. He's got a huge health pool. Never hurts to have him. Fun to play with. Nova is interesting. I love Nova's ability. I love having Nova on the table. I don't see a world where I'm wanting to do this, though, in this deck. And to avoid the temptation to do this, I would rather not put him in at all, although that's going to leave us very light on allies. 5 allies is lean. We're going to be relying a lot on our hero to take damage and or defend. We're going to need to get those wiggle rooms into our hand. And we don't have a lot of other stuff to help out with. So maybe we should look at our supports to try to make up for Nova. In our support section, we have Med Team. Med Team is decent. It lets us heal without having to flip back over. It's going to let us heal some of our allies as well. Don't ever heal Nick Fury for obvious reasons. But you know, it's decent. It makes the cut on a lot of decks. If we're going to play Nova, it absolutely makes the cut as a 3 of. Not sure on that right now. Let's look at our upgrades. Energy Barrier, probably one of the best cards in the pool. We'll go with a 3 of for that. Indomitable, this lets us defend and ready. We can get our event back if we layer this in the right order. We can defend, exhaust, get our event back, and then respond again to our defense and ready, which I think is good. So let's go ahead and put 3 of in this set and then see what leaves us after that. We don't want to use our defense, so we don't want to boost our defense. Obvious synergy non-existent there. Alright, so that's a 41 card pool. Cards that I am questioning whether or not they should even be in the deck at the moment. A full play set of Get Behind Me. Let's see. Otherwise, I feel like this is a pretty solid setup here. Get Behind Me is going to get played as a resource a lot. Kind of the idea behind this deck would be to get a tackle in our hand and never give it back up. Energy Barrier is going to be good. Indomitable is decent. We probably don't need 3 Indomitables. It's making me want Nova, though. We got a lot of energy cards we can spend on Nova. I like Nova. I mean, I think the Avengers Mansion could go and we could get a Nova. I think we should do that. Let's do that. The Avengers Mansion goes away. We get Nova. We'd keep the Helicarrier. Nova's got the resources. We're probably not going to get Nova on the table. We're at 41 right now. We probably cut an Indomitable because we're just not going to play it that often. And maybe we do want to get a med team in here. Let's look at our supports. Let's add a med team. And let's cut a... Get Behind Me is our only cancel card. I don't want to get rid of one of those. And Energy Barrier is the best card in the pool. I mean, you could argue with me about that if you want to. Maybe Med Team just doesn't make the cut. Yeah, I think Med Team's just not going to cut it. Alright, that puts us at 40 cards. We're going to save this deck. Let's get this deck saved. And then, for fun, let's try to build on that leadership theme that we talked about for a minute. And then we'll shut things down. Later this week, we're going to try to take the decks we built today into some playthroughs. Why don't you leave a comment, let us know what scenario you'd like us to play. The intention is to play on Expert Heroic 1. We do have access to all the scenarios. We do own all the scenarios. So let me know what scenario and modular set you think we should be playing with. We're going to call this deck Nomad Gaming, Miss Marvel, Protection, Live Build 1. We'll call this a casual deck, and we'll fill in the rest of that stuff later. So we'll save that as a new deck. We will get the link for this saved in the description of this video so that you can find it quickly and upload it if you would like. Let's go for a reset here, and let's get a new deck into our pool. So we'll clear the deck. We're gonna go refresh the deck builder, and let's see, back to Miss Marvel. Let's start with Miss Marvel again. We are gonna go to our basic aspect, and let's pick out our somewhat staple cards: Energy, Genius, Helicarrier, Mockingbird, Nick Fury, and Strength. And then let's check out Leadership. Alright, so this could be the hardest build that we would have to do. Nothing's going to synergize well here, but what we're talking about building around is strength and numbers. So if we can get a bunch of low-cost allies out, we can draw more cards. When we draw more cards, we can play more events. We can be more choosy about what events we're going to get back into our hand, and then we can be more choosy about which events we're going to boost with our Embiggen and our Shrink. So we're going 3 strength and numbers. Let's get those power leaderships in there that we're going to play anyway. Triskelion's going to let us play one more ally than normal. And then we're going to kind of go like all in on ally playing. So we're still in leadership. We want to see our allies, and we're going to put everybody in. Falcon, Hawkeye, Maria Hill, Squirrel Girl, Vision, and Wonder Man. And then we're going to switch over to basic and make sure that we've put in Lockjaw. Lockjaw I left out of the other build, but Lockjaw is a good ally. It can be played from the discard pile. It's useful. We've got Heimdall as an option here. This lets us manage the top of the encounter deck. He's an ally. He has big health. He's in the deck because all we're trying to do is get allies on the table and draw with them. Back to our leadership pool. Let's go through card type by card type, see what we can do. We're going to put in 3 Make the Call. It's the best card in the pool. We don't want to use our base stats, so we're not going to play Teamwork. We don't want to use our base stats, so we're not going to play Morale Boost. We're not going to use most of our base stats, but we might use our ally base stats, so we're going to put in 1 lead from the front. And we're playing Nick Fury, and Get Ready is fun with Nick Fury, so let's put in, where are we at on cards? Oh, we're at 40 right now. We don't have to squeeze anything in. We're going to have to take things out. Alright, let's not squeeze in Get Ready then. Alright, let's look at the rest of what we've got. And support, we've got Quinjet and Triskelion. We've already got Triskelion in. Quinjet's going to help us play allies for free, which gives us resources to play events. So we want Quinjet and upgrade. Inspired goes on an ally. Lets us boost our ally stats and have fun with them. Inspired Vision is Fantabar. I just love Inspired Vision, but we're not going to do that right now. Do we want Avengers Tower? I think we do. I think we want Avengers Tower. I don't think we want Honorary Avenger. Honorary Avenger would let us play... Let's just keep guys on the table, and it changes a couple of people to Avengers for the benefit of just Avengers Tower. It's not worth it. Alright, we gotta cut 2 cards. We're probably not gonna cut... Well, probably not gonna cut anything. We're trying to draw cards at a high clip. If we're gonna cut anything, it's gonna be Avengers Tower. Let's see how many of our allies are actually Avengers. No, yes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 Avengers out of 11. I think we cut the Quinjet and keep the Avengers Tower. That'll put us at 41 cards. We're going to play a 41 card special here. This could be an epic nightmare, but it focuses only on our aspect specific play, and it's an interesting thought. Let's save this one too, and we'll try to give it a run through later this week when we play our playthrough with this. Again, later this week we'll be doing a live play game, recorded play game, and we need to know which villain and modular set we should play with. We're naming this Nomad Gaming. I don't remember what we named the other one. Miss Marvel Live Build Leadership. .1. It's a casual one. We'll get the link in the description below. And that's going to conclude some of our strategy here. One thing that I would like to note is that both of these decks were built both of these decks were built without a specific scenario in mind. There is some gamesmanship to building decks specifically for a scenario, and particularly with a hero like Miss Marvel, we may want to think about what scenario we're going to build and then build to try to beat it. We may have an upcoming deck video that will try to build with specific challenges in mind. But we do think this is a good, fun exercise for us. I'd love to hear what you do with either of these aspects, if you even bother to build either of these aspects with this hero. Give me your feedback and comments below. As I've said before, we do really benefit on the channel from you participating with us. Give us your like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. If you haven't already seen it, check out our hero review for this hero, and stay tuned for our live play session later this week. We appreciate your time, and until next time, let's go game.